Hello and welcome to another video. This is about backups. No, don't click off. Let me talk you into this. About 5 years ago, I started imaging my C drive daily. Every morning, an image taken of my C drive. It seems like a lot of work to set up. It's not really. And about 15 times or maybe more since I did this, this has saved me so much trouble. You know, so many things can go wrong. A Windows update can break something. You could get a virus on something. You could delete something off of the C drive and empty your recycle bin, and it's all gone. You take an image of your C drive. It's like a snapshot in time. My PC, I've got quite a few drives in mine, as you can see. I like a bit of room to save stuff. I always keep a very small C drive. That's a 250 gig boot drive, because that has Windows and apps on it and nothing else. My documents and things are on this drive. This is my backup only drive, and the rest are kind of games and apps drives. So, I mean, you can image as many other drives as you want if you've got the space. If you don't have space, grab any old hard drive, any old WD hard drive in a sale, get an external, anything at all. It doesn't matter how fast it is or anything, just an old mechanical drive. Doesn't need to be an SSD, just to do a backup onto. And at some point, you will be really glad you did. Only a couple of weeks ago, I'd installed something. It messed up badly. I was trying to undo some changes I'd made, and I just thought, I'm just going to restore an image, and it took me 17 minutes to restore the image to go back before I made any of those changes. Like I say, it's like a time machine to go back. I strongly recommend it. Yeah, backing up is something that people don't really seem to do that much these days. I urge you to give this a try. I've always used Macrium. That's recently gone to a subscription. Macrium Reflect is recently gone to a subscription-based model. I recently looked at free to use options, and this one was rated very, very highly. Aomei Backupper. I will put a link in the description. This is what it looks like. Settings. I will have a look for the settings. We'll come back to that in a minute. The boot option there. Okay, so we're at home. We want to take a complete image of that C drive every day. So everything on that C drive, the way Windows is installed, all the changes you've made, the wallpaper, literally its entire state. So we go to backup, and we want system backup because it's Windows that we want. So we click on system backup. That's drive C. These are hidden partitions that are on the drive that are necessary for a Windows drive. They're both quite small, as you can see. That's 100 meg and that's like 500 meg. Don't worry about those. It needs those to go back to this state, and that's the drive that you see in Windows. So we're gonna take all of these in a complete copy or an image, and we are going to select a location on E on the backup drive. I've already made a folder. It's empty, called Aomei Backups. Open that. E Aomei Backups. Now, you can run this if you want manually once a week or a couple of times a week, or however you want to do it. I've always had it on a schedule. So click Schedule Backup, enable Schedule Backup, then daily basis. I recommend a daily basis, depending on what you change on your PC. Even going back a week ago could be useful. I like doing it daily. It's kind of good. Depend, how much space you've got, I guess, is the main thing. But we'll for the sake of this, we'll use daily. We don't want to run it only once. We want to run it every day at, say, I don't know, 9 a.m. It should run. I mean, you can do it. I think on my PC, mine's set at 6 a.m. and obviously it's not on at 6 a.m. for the most part. So when it comes on, it runs it anyway. There is an option to tick for that. So run once every day at 9 o'clock. We won't go with the intervals. There's a variety of other ways you can do this. If you put your PC to sleep, you could tick the box to wake it to run scheduled tasks. I never put mine to sleep, so that's no use to me. If you want it to automatically shut down when it's finished, you can tick that box. I don't want it to do that. Scheduling. Don't install the service. Directly use Windows Task Scheduler. I prefer to use the included one with the actual program. So it's the bottom one here, install a service to run scheduled tasks. Very important here. Make sure the box here is ticked, run the missing backup after starting the computer next time. So if it's not on at 9 o'clock and you turn it on at 10 o'clock, it will then run the backup for you. Do I have to okay that there at that point? Go back and schedule backup. Backup scheme. Now, a full backup is going to take the complete image of the drive. We can't do that on a daily basis. You know, if you've got a 500 gig drive that's half full, we don't want a 250 gig image every day. So the first one will be full, be a complete image of the drive, and then you can have differentials or incrementals. A differential, they will get bigger and bigger because every differential it makes will be all the differences between the full backup at the beginning and now. So, for example, you've got 250 gig on it, you take a 250 gig backup, the next day you've written another 10 gig, you take a differential, the differential will be about 10 gig, it will be the differences between that day and the next day. The next day, let's say Wednesday, for example, you run another differential and you've put another 10 gig of data on, that's going to be 20 gig difference because it's going to ignore the one in between. So each differential is the difference between that full backup and now. So they get quite big. Incrementals will only do the changes since the last backup. So we will run a full backup that will be the full size of the drive. And then the next day, if you've only written 5 gig or 10 gig, the incremental backup will be 5 gig or 10 gig. And then the next day you make 5 or 10 gig change again, that one will be 5 or 10 gig. It does require everyone in the chain. You won't be able to delete one out of the chain. When it's incrementals, it needs the one before. They sort of all you can go back to any point, but once you lose one file, if you delete one file, everything after that is useless. So we'll go with incremental because I think that's kind of the best if you've got it running a lot. We don't want it to do this forever. I mean, you could, but you know, you're going to get more and more on the drive. So what you could do is say on a monthly basis, say every 28 days, every 30 days, you know, whatever you like, it's down to you. Perform one full backup. So day one, it will take a full backup, and then it's going to do 28 days of incremental, and that's going to become quite a long chain. So then it'll do another full backup. On a paid for version, you can have it automatically delete the older ones. You can't do that in the free version. So, but every now and then you can go and tidy up last month's or the months before, depending on how many you want to keep. So yeah, let's say we're going to do that. So once a month, it will take a full one again. That'll take a little longer, and then it's going to do incrementals from there on. So that's the scheme we're using. We've got it running daily. We click OK. That's all ready to go. So I'm going to now click Start Backup, and if I get the folder here, we should see some files appear in this folder. Sorry, I've zoomed in a little bit so we can see the windows a little better. So start this backup now. We want to run it now. Now, add the schedule and start backup now, or only add the schedule. We want to run the first one. You can leave it until the next day if you want. You can just add the schedule, and then tomorrow it'll do it. But we're gonna run it now. So add the schedule and start the backup now. And a folder has appeared here called System Backup 2, and everything in that folder will be from this backup scheme that we've done. Being a full one for the first time, this one will take a little longer. You'll notice that it's quite a bit bigger. I think I've got about 100 gig or so, about 90 gig of data on my C drive. I recently formatted to put Windows 10 back on. The backup, the full image, will be a lot smaller than that because it compresses it. And just like that, we're at 100%. That was quick, wasn't it? So the current operation has been completed. We have a full image here. It's 46 gig. There we go, 40 or 44 gig for about a 92 gig amount of data on drive C. So it saves quite a bit of space as well. If I just run that again, I'm wondering if that runs a quick incremental again. Okay, so as you can see now, run an incremental as well just after. I'll show you how to do that. Let's say, for example, yours images every day at 9 a.m., but it's 5 in the afternoon on a Saturday. You've just bought a new bit of tech, or you're just going to install something that you're not really sure about what's going to happen. Let's take a little snapshot before you start messing with anything that might, it might not work out and you might want to undo later. Just open Aomei, come to your backup here. Sorry, not into it. The play button there, you can just trigger that at any point you want. So, okay, I'm about to do something with my PC and I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or whether I'm going to run around and do it. So I'm just going to click here. Do I want to put a comment for this? You can if you want. You could write backup before I install such and such or whatever. Just so you remember what it was for. Don't really need to do that. Click OK. It's now running an incremental that will have the changes from the last backup. And skipping ahead, the power of editing. That's now complete. So you can see if we sort by date order here, we've got the full one, about 46, 44 gig. An incremental there that was 84 meg or less. This one was 67. The times they were run, the original was run at 621. The first incremental was run at 623. The last one I just ran was at 625. We can go back to any of those points. Obviously, that's not a lot of use when they're like 2 minutes apart. But if they're days apart, you can choose what day you want to go back to. So we've got three restore points in there now, and that operation is completed. So you're now set up on a schedule every day. That's going to take an image. Now, the most important bit. Now, because it's the Windows drive, say something catastrophic happens and it won't even start up. What use is this going to be? What use is this backup going to be on the E drive when you can't even start your C drive to start this Aomei program to do anything with? You've got a virus or something's happened with the Windows update and your PC won't even start. What do? Okay, this is the important bit to do. Doing all of this is pretty much pointless if you don't do this next bit. You're going to need a small USB pen. I'd really recommend getting a new, if you've got an old one kicking around, fine, but if it's really old, I'd recommend buying a new one. It doesn't need to be very big. I think this one is 8 gigabytes, and I think that's more than I need. It is brand new. Plug that in. A new empty drive there. Go to Tools. Go to Create Bootable Media. Linux or Windows. Probably either works for this, but for the sake of this, I'm sure most of you are more familiar with the Windows, so we're going to select Windows PE. I've already made one of these. I didn't tick the download PE. I forget what the PE. Oh, what's the PE? CE is Compact Edition. P is something environment. I forget what the P stands for. I should have looked that up. But Windows PE environment. I didn't tick this, and it worked fine. It's to download some extra things. It's basically you're putting a tiny operating system on a USB pen. So if your C drive is absolutely beyond usable, you can boot from this USB pen. So I just selected that. I didn't select that. You should always check this before you need it. So after you've made this, you do want to check that it works. It's not a disaster. If you ever get in a situation where you can't boot from the USB pen and you need to restore an image, you haven't lost everything. All you need to do is do a very quick Windows install. Just install Windows, a new version of Windows, install Aomei again, and then make another drive. Then you can boot from the drive and restore the original image that you've still got. You would just have to throw Windows on there quickly, though, just to get to do all this. So do check. Make 2 of them, maybe, if you can get 2 cheap USB pens. We want this to go to a USB boot device, and it's just make doubly sure. It's going to overwrite it, so make very, very sure that you're selecting the right drive letter, which I'm now going to do there. The empty drive there is K. Drive K is the USB pen. So USB boot device. I've clicked it again. It's gone back to that. So K. I didn't add any drivers. I didn't have any issue with that. I just did this. Click next. The operation will cause that your USB disk will be formatted. So anything on that is going to be lost. Are you sure? Yes. Go ahead. It's now going to make a very basic bootable environment on that USB pen. So like I say, it's your drive C is completely kaput and you can't boot from it. Or maybe your drive fails and you buy another drive and replace it, and then we're going to restore the image to the new drive. It's recommending that we install these USB devices and the network device there. You don't really need the network device, but I didn't touch it last time, so I just clicked OK. Yes, add all of that to the pen. And a few minutes later, we have, it doesn't show anything on the drive. This comes up, it shows it's empty because it's only a bootable drive. A few minutes later, that's complete. We now have a method of booting up without Windows working. So I want to show you what I do in the BIOS to make your BIOS may be set to boot from a USB pen when it's plugged in, or if not, you might need to go into the BIOS and change the boot order. I can't capture the BIOS, so I'm just going to set up a camera quickly to show you what I do and what happens. Meanwhile, while we're still in Windows, so we have on drive E here, Aomei backups. We have 3. I assume when it takes the next full one, it will put it in a different folder, so you will know that you can delete the old ones. So we've got 3 points here we can go back to. So just to demonstrate what happens here, on drive C, let's say something catastrophic happened. I don't want to deliberately do anything to break anything here, but I have a folder called Very Important Docs. You see that there? Something's happened and that has been deleted. Shift deleted. It's not even going to go to the recycle bin. That is going to be gone permanently. That has gone, and that was very important documents. These config files for something here, these are absolutely urgent. I'm kidding, they're not, but I'm going to delete them anyway. I'm going to shift delete them. They're not going to the bin. They're gone. That's it. They're gone. This AMD folder for the driver updates, gone. And I really, really, really needed all of that stuff. But don't worry, because I have a full backup from earlier on. Also, let's prove the point that let's pretend this is some horrible virus. There's a virus folder there. There's there's virus number 2 as well. Virus number 2, which is an even bigger virus. There you go. They're on the drive now as well. What are we going to do? How do you get rid of those? You don't know what they've infected. Well, I'm going to shut the PC down and I'm going to plug my USB pen into the front and I'm going to go back in time and get rid of all this and do my damage because I was prepared by having an image. See you in a moment. Sorry about the quality change there, but that's the only way I can capture this is to point a camera at the screen. So something's gone wrong with your computer. It won't boot up. It's a virus or an update has messed up and it just won't boot. It just keeps failing and you had stuff on that drive. But don't worry. You've got several backup images and you made this your recovery pen. Plug the recovery pen into the front of the computer. Go into your BIOS. It's normally when you turn it on, hit the delete button or the F2 button. You would have to check for your motherboard. For me, it's coming to the boot menu there. Boot order priorities is what you will be looking for. Here I've got 1, which is the Windows Boot Manager, which tells it to boot from my SSD. That's so bright you can't read it, but that says Samsung SSD. And I've got the USB plugged in, and it says UEFI General Disk. You blah 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 blah. You should be able to spot what your USB disk is, hopefully. So I don't want it to look at the C drive. I don't want it to try and boot from that because there's something disastrously wrong with it. So I'm going to click on that. There's 2 partitions on this drive. To be honest, I'm not sure which is the bootable one, so I'm just going to move both of them up, and then it will find the one I need. So I'm going to choose partition 1 to be the first boot thing. That is then moved the Samsung drive down. I'm also going to change that to partition 2. So now it will look in this order. It's going to look on the USB pen first for something bootable. If it doesn't find it, it will move on to the C drive. It will find something bootable with this, so that's fine. So now we're going to save and exit setup. And now it should ignore the C drive and look on the USB pen where it will find the bootable environment that we have made. And there we go. Confronted with another window. It may take a few minutes. It is booting from a very slow USB pen. And there we go. We're going to click the little hamburger there. Click restore. It finds backups for us that we took earlier. The C drive, as well as those other hidden partitions that I told you about. That's the one we want to restore. Restore this system backup. This option would be just to restore one of those partitions. We don't want that. We need to repair the entire drive. Over this side, and I've now turned the camera away from it. For this backup, we did 3 backups. One that started at 616. The incremental at 622 and an incremental at 624. In most cases, you're going to go back to the most recent one. But we can go back, as we ran 3, we can go back to any of these points. So we will go with the most recent one before all those horrible viruses happened on the C drive. At the lower left, there is a next button here. I'm afraid that's just out of your picture. Click next. It shows you what it's going to do. The source partition from the files matches up perfectly over here, 232.23 gigabyte with 232.23 gigabyte on the destination. Source there, that matches, that matches, that matches. Your usage might be a little different because obviously you'll have a different amount of data on the drive. So just compare the drive to make sure that it's going to the right size, but ignore the used space on it. So we're just going to go with start restore at this point. Now, off of your D drive, this program is restoring all of that information that was in that image. So anything that happened since that image is effectively going to be undone. And just like that, that has now restored that image and overwritten all that horrible virus stuff that happened on drive C. So we can click finish. Going to refresh the disks. Give up the task. Come out of there. Need to pull the USB pen out so the system doesn't reboot from the pen. And just like that, we're back in Windows. Once you pull the USB pen out the front of the drive, the C drive becomes the first bootable device again. So your PC boots up. Has it worked? Go into my PC. Did it restore the image? Yes. Look, very important docs are back, and they were deleted and gone. All these very important config files that we deleted are all back there. The virus folder has gone. Everything is back exactly as it was. It's been completely invaluable for me many times over. I really recommend that you do this. At some point it will save you. That image all in all took about, I think, about 10-12 minutes, something like that, to completely restore. So the work really is in setting it up, and it doesn't take that long. It has been a bit of a longer video, but I didn't really want to miss anything. Yeah, it's a free program, link in the description. I urge you to install it and set this up. And if you have to buy a small hard drive to put in your PC or an external backup in order to do this and have some space to do it, if you use your PC a lot, I really recommend you make that investment in a hard drive. If you have any other questions on this, feel free to ask them in the comments. I stream on Twitch, Merlin6R, Monday to Friday from 11 AM till 7 PM UK time. Always happy to take any tech questions in there. But yeah, I really recommend you do this. But you must make that USB recovery pen. Otherwise, it's very difficult to restore the image if the system becomes unbootable. If you use this and it saves you one day, feel free to come to my Twitch stream and say, I did it. I made the effort to do it and it saved me. And yeah, I pray that works for many of you there, because it is absolutely invaluable. Definitely give it a try. If this was any use to you at all, hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe to see the next one. And thank you very much for making it to the end. And please set this up so you've got a backup. Thank you again. See you next time.